Bristol Community College, Mathematics with Dan Avedikian, Math 060, Topics in Developmental Mathematics, Section 4.4, Problem 7. This is Section 4.4, number 7. It says write each fraction as a percent, and then it says round your answer to the nearest hundredth. So it's really not going to come out to a whole number answer necessarily. You have to round it a little bit. So 1/3. Again, to convert any fraction to a percent, what I like to do is find something I can multiply times the denominator to make it 100. But with a denominator of 3, it's not something you can find. So again, if your teacher will let you use a calculator, you just do 1 divided by 3, numerator divided by the denominator, and your calculator will give you an answer. If you can't use your calculator, you have to do the denominator of 3 divided into the numerator of 1. Now, 3 won't fit into 1, so write it as a 1.0 and treat it as a 10. And when you do that, that decimal point comes straight up vertically. So now 3 goes into 10 3 times. 3 times 3 is 9, and 10 minus 9 is 1. And you put in another 0 and bring it straight down. You still have 3 into 10 again. That's going to be 3. 3 times 3 is 9. 10 minus 9 is 1. You have to make another 0, bring it down. You're getting 10 every time. You put in a 3, you get 9, 1, 10. The 3's will go forever. So as a decimal, 1/3 is 0.3333 ... forever. It continues forever. Now, you don't have to write it forever because this round your answer to the nearest hundredth. And not hundredth of a percent, hundredth. So as a decimal, 1 spot to the right of the decimal point is tenths, 2 spots over is hundredths. So now the next spot over, if it's big enough, I write this as 0.34. If it's not big enough, it stays at 0.33. And the next digit out is a 3. So 0 through 4 isn't big enough to make it a 0.34. If it were 5 through 9, then I'd move it up to a 3/4, but it's not. So it stays as 0.33. And as a percent, 0.33 becomes 33%. To make a decimal into a percent, you move the decimal over 2 places to the right. So 33%. If it said hundredth of a percent, we'd have to go out really 4 places. It'd be 33.33%. So the next one, 4 2/3. So because of the 4 in front, I know it'll be 400 and something percent. Now, you can just deal with the 2/3 and put the 4 back, or you can do this. 3 times 4 is 12, and then 12 plus 2 more is 14. So I can write it as 14/3. And like the other one, if I have a teacher where I can use my calculator, what I can do is just do the numerator 14 divided by the denominator of 3 equals, and my calculator will give me the decimal, which then I can quickly convert to a percent. But if you can't use your calculator, you'll do the 3 divides into the 14. The denominator divides into the numerator how many times? So 3 will divide into 14. It goes in 4 times. 4 times 3 is 12. 14 minus 12 is 2. So it didn't go in evenly. So now think of the 14 as a 14.0, and I can bring that next 0 down next to the 2 and think of it as a 20. And when I put that decimal in, it has to come straight up vertically into the division. So 3 will go into 20 how many times? Well, 3 times 6 is 18, so that gets me close. 3 times 6, 18. 20 minus 18 is 2. Fill in another 0, bring it down next to the 2, you get 20 again. So you're going to have a 6 again. 6 times 3 is 18. 20 minus 18 is another 2. Put in a 0, bring it down, 20. So you're going to keep getting 20 and 18. 20 minus 18. It's going to continue 4.66666 forever. ... So now it says round this to the nearest hundredth. So let me put in a couple more. So hundredth is 2 places to the right of the decimal. So now the next position over, the third one out, is big enough to make this a 4.67. So now as a percent, that would be 467%. And again, it didn't say hundredth of a percent, just hundredth. so I didn't have to go out further, though if I did, it'd be 466.67%, but the way it's written, 467%. So now the next one, 7/9. Same type of thing. If you can, find something that you can multiply times 9 to turn it into 100, but you won't be able to find it. So I have to deal with the 7/9. And like the other problems, if your math teacher says you can use a calculator, what you want to do is do 7 divided by 9, the numerator divided by the denominator equals, and you get the decimal, which you can then quickly turn into a percent. But if you can't use your calculator, you'll do the denominator of 9 divides into the numerator of 7 how many times? 9 won't fit into 7. So write it as 7.0 and think of it as a 70. And when you do that, you have to bring that decimal point straight up vertically. So now 9 times 7 actually is 63. That's as close as you can get. So 7 times 9, 63. 70 minus 63 is 7. So you can add in another 0, bring it down. 0 next to the 7 makes it a 70. So it's the same process again. I'm going to get another 7. 7 times 9 is 63. 70 minus 63 is 7. Add another 0, bring it down next to the 7, it turns into a 70. Still dividing 9 into 70. 7 times 63, you're going to subtract, get 7 again. It just keeps going, 0.77777 forever without ever stopping. Now, that's the answer as a decimal, but the question tells you to write it as a percent. So I need to move the decimal 2 places to the right. Now, it says also round your answer to the nearest hundredth. So 2 positions to the right of the decimal is hundredths. So now when I look over 1 more position to the right, it's a 7. That's big enough to make it a 0.78. So within the round off to the nearest hundredth, I have 0.78 as a decimal. To make it a percent, pull your decimal point 2 places to the right, and it is 78%. So the next one, same sort of a process. You have 5/6. Write it as a percent. First thing I'm going to do is ask myself, can I multiply anything times the denominator of 6 to turn that 6 into a 100? No, not a whole number. So again, if your math teacher says you can use your calculator for this problem, just do numerator of 5 divided by denominator of 6 equals, and the calculator will give you the decimal very quickly. If you can't use your calculator, the by hand way to do it is the denominator of 6 divides into the numerator of 5. How many times? 6 won't divide into 5. 5 is not big enough. So write the 5 as a 5.0, treat it as a 50. The decimal comes straight up vertically. 6 will divide into 50, let's see, 8 times. 8 times 6 is 48. 50 minus 48 is 2. So I'm going to add in another 0, bring it down next to the 2. It'll make that 2 into a 20. Now 6 will divide into 20. So let's see, 3 times. 3 times 6 is 18. 20 minus 18 is 2. And now it's going to start making that pattern. I'm going to get a 3 every time. So add another 0, bring it next to the 2. When you put the 0 next to 2, it's a 20. You're going to divide 6 into 20. It'll go in 3 times again. 3 times 6 is 18. Same situation happens. 20 minus 18 is 2. Bring down another 0. It's going to keep putting another 3 forever. It's always going to be 20 minus 18 is 2, and it'll repeat that. So 5/6 as a decimal is 0.83333 without ever ending. Now, again, it says round to the nearest hundredth. So hundredth is 2 places to the right of the decimal point. The next position out is not big enough to make it a 0.84. It just chops at 0.83 with the round off. And that would be 83%. And finally, 8/15, same thing, write that as a percent. First thing you want to try, look at the denominator of 15, see if it can be multiplied times any whole number to make it 100. And there is not a whole number that will multiply times 15 to make it 100. So it's going to be the same process again. As with the others, if your teacher will allow you to use a calculator, just do the numerator of 8 divided by the denominator of 15 equals, and you'll get the decimal immediately. If you can't do that, do it by hand. The denominator of 15 divides into the numerator of 8 how many times? 15 will not divide into 8. 8's not large enough, so write the 8 as an 8.0, treat it as an 80. When you do that, the decimal point will come straight up. Now, 15 divides into 80 5 times. 5 times 15 is 75. 80 minus 75 is 5. So you do have a remainder. Bring down, add another 0, bring it down next to the 5. It'll make it a 50. So now 15 divides into 50. Well, 3 times 15 is 45. That's as close as I can get. Put in a 3. 3 times 15, 45. Subtract, 50 minus 45 is 5. Bring down another 0. So it's 50 again. So it'll be 3 again, 45 again. Subtract it, 5 again. It's just going to keep making another 3. So 8 over 15 as a decimal is 0.53333. The 3's go forever. Now, it says to round our answer to the nearest hundredth. So hundredth is 2 places to the right of the decimal point. So I find that position, look over 1 more place to the right, see if it's big enough to bump it up to a 0.54. It's not. 0 through 4, you just chop it off, which is what I have here. So it would be 53%. Now, just as a quick notation, instead of writing 0.3333 forever with a dot, 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 you can just write 0.3 with a line over it. This 4.6666 forever and ever, 4.6 with a line over it. 0.777 forever, 0.7 with a line over it. 0.83333, it's 0.83, but the line only goes over the 3, not the 8, because the 8 doesn't repeat. Same type of thing with a 0.533333. Only the 3's are going forever, so you put 0.53, but that bar that means it goes forever only goes over the 3, just as a little extra about the notation.